Alright guys, in this video we're going over 3 great dynamic camera moves from the great movie Lord of the Rings: Two Towers. How did Peter Jackson use 3 sweeping helicopter shots just to hint at one of the great messages of the story? Second, a Dolly in shot that really emphasizes a great performance as Arwen falls enamored with Aragorn. And third, as Smeagol cuts back and forth between the personality of Gollum, it's a great establishing curved Dolly shot. We're going to go over all 3 of those and more as you get a chance at the end to figure out what you think is going on in a shot. So guys, let's dive in and take a look at Two Towers. One of the messages of Lord of the Rings that hit me the hardest is that even the small, the low, they can do important things. And I think even the overlooked, often the overlooked is where the important things happen. It's because it's not when you're training for a marathon that you win the race that you really are doing all the work. You're doing the work early in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m. And at 4 or 5 a.m., no one's there to watch you. No one's there to check you and to see that you're doing good and accomplishing your goal. And that's the same thing that it is for Sam and Frodo. No one's watching them. No one's checking on them and confirming, hey, you gotta keep doing, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep going. They're doing it on their own. It's a thankless task until the task is complete, until the goal and the ring has been destroyed. And that's what these 3 shots are. They're so great. It's simple and it's easy to overlook why these shots are fantastic. So it's basically these helicopter shots of these white mountains covered in snow. And what it is, it feels like there's energy that's moving around. And I think why the camera is moving and we see the ground sweeping under the camera is because nothing's happening here. Nothing's going on. Nothing dramatic is happening. And it's basically a super wide shot of the scene. So wide that the scene is actually happening inside the mountain. So wide we don't see them at all. And we start to hear them and we realize it's a scene from the first movie when Gandalf gets grasped by the big demon monster and dragged down into the depths of the mountain. And what it is this great, important, and terrible scene where we lose a friend. We're cut so wide that no one's noticed it. Even terrible things that no one notices can be lost in such a wide shot. And I think that's a great message of these shots. It'd be very interesting, as I would say, in a movie or a shot, where if you were cut to such a wide angle that you didn't focus on the close-ups, you didn't know who our characters were, and so you were just hearing what they were doing, and it was an important something. And with that important something, we were so wide that we didn't notice, and you could tell that these things that are important are overlooked by everybody until they matter. Until not that they matter, until they come out into the open. And so it reminds me of this movie Sully by Clint Eastwood. And the message of the movie is he's not the only hero of this. There's the flight attendants also. And that's what these shots are about. And it's well done. Extremely well done, Peter Jackson. I really appreciate that. Was just an amazing camera moves. Now this is a great shot and a great performance by Miranda Otto. One of the great things that a camera move, a dolly in, can do for you is it can emphasize the feeling that is already happening. It can be done through music, it can be supported by music, and often a great way to do that is to be done by performance. And so what's happening in the scene, the anatomy of the scene is, there's this clash of swords between Arwen and Aragorn. And that is not an accident. It's a physical representation that these 2 people are clashing in spirit.
You have some skill with a blade.
And it's a great place from them to go from them literally clashing swords to her showing affection for him at the end. It's a great way to show an arc and a change in relationship. And that's why they show that at the beginning, the clashing of swords. And then she's not quite given up on that when she's put her sword away. And so she's kind of combative towards him.
The women of this country learned long ago. Those without swords can still die upon them. I fear neither death nor pain.
And there's these interesting looks as he gives her a compliment. And I want to go over these granular performances. She looks down as he gives her a compliment because she's not ready to receive it. She's not ready to look him in the eye, and so she looks down. And these glances are great ways for a director to tell an actor what to do or an actor to do it themselves. It's just a great way, a powerful move of saying, I'm really paying attention to what you're saying, or what you're saying is grabbing me. And so that's what's happening here. What Aragon is telling her is grabbing her enough to look up. And then we cut to the Dolly shot. And what happens here is there's this great performance here. And normally in a Dolly, I might say that the rising action is the push in, and the climax is it slows to a stop, and then something is said. And that is a great way to use a Dolly. I've used it in a movie. It worked fantastic. It's my favorite shot of that short film that I did. But that's not what happens here. There is nothing to be said. Nothing is said. But even part of her performance that you might stop on as a climax, that's not what stops on.
I do not think that will be your fate.
All of the great performances, which is a few things, a few pieces of specifics that kind of say that she's being enamored by him, happen during really the pushing in. And the things that happen are, one, she blinks but catches herself so she doesn't lose eye contact with him. It's like her heart is stopping or skipping a beat because of what she's hearing. And then it's the lips. Her lips part just a small smidge, and it's like she's just caught off guard. It's just a beautiful, just small little touches in performance. And Dolly wouldn't have meant anything without this kind of performance. So it's Peter Jackson and Miranda Otto working together for this moment. It's fantastic.
I do not think that will be your fate.
And then what happens is we cut back to the over shoulder that's been established before. And what happens is Aragon turns around and leaves. And this is another great camera move. The camera kind of turns around so that the back of her head is still viewable as we see Aragon leave. And what's great about that is it shows that she's watching him without actually cutting to her look. And we still know that her eyes are following. Now, we've talked about in other moments and other things the great move of turning your head to show a different thought coming into being. And so that's what happens here, is except Peter Jackson goes beyond it. It's not a thought with Smeagol, it's a different personality.
Wicked, fritzy, false. No, master. Yes, precious.
So when he turns one way, it's Gollum. When he turns the other way, it's Smeagol. And how he establishes it is with a great camera move. It's a curved dolly track move, and it starts with Smeagol, and then as Smeagol turns, we rotate to the other side, and then it's Gollum. So it's establishing the rules of this moment, that if we're on one side, it's Gollum, if we're on the other, it's Smeagol. And basically, what goes on here is there's this conversation, this debate.
Have any friends? Nobody likes you.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
And Smeagol says eventually that he wants to get rid of Gollum, and Gollum gets angry, defensive, and becomes powerful.
I'm not listening.
You're a liar. And a thief. No.
How does he become powerful? We slowly push in on him as he digs a dagger and an insult into Smeagol. And it becomes a close-up. And so what Peter Jackson is doing here is he's creating a powerful character so that at the end, this is the scene where Smeagol takes over as a main personality for a time. At the end of that, it's really powerful that Gollum disappears. The powerful disappears, not the weak one. It's more dramatic. It shows a clear difference and distinction between one and the other when the powerful one disappears. And so that's what happens here. And how it comes about is we're going back to Smeagol, and Smeagol's saying these things about how he wants to get rid of Gollum and how he's happy with Master.
Come back! Leave now and never come back!
And the music is swelling. We're supported by music. It's basically this rising excitement from Smeagol.
Leave now and never come.
And then the music dips down and dies. And you would think, at that moment, from the cadence of the other shots we've been looking at, we would cut back to Gollum. But we do not. We do not cut back to Gollum. We stay there with Smeagol. And he's looking around, and he looks around, and no one's there. He says no one's there. And then we cut to the opposite shot where Gollum should be. And that shot shows we're running over with a truck. Peter Jackson's hitting you with a truck with it. Gollum is gone in that shot. And he celebrates and he celebrates. What a great way to show split personality is being done. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Now it's your turn to think like a director. Put yourself in their shoes and walk around a little bit. I want you to take a look at this shot. Tell me what you think the director is doing and how he's doing it and why in the comments section.
I don't want to go. Freda, I will find you there.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. What's helped me by watching these films and dissecting them, and I think will help you as someone who's watching the videos I've created, is it gets you thinking about the shots that the directors are making. And it gets you thinking so that you might take those shots, look at them, tweak them, smash them together, make something completely different, be inspired by. And that's what you can do as you watch these videos, is you can start thinking differently as a director in your own movies. So I want you guys subscribe, smash notifications, join our community in the comments section. We're going to be discussing things and making things interesting.